Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent, and let's play some Kerbal Space Program, shall we? Now, in this game, I have started up. I realized, my goodness, it's much more complicated than I had imagined. I need to do these training missions to even understand what's happening, because it looks cutesy. You've got these green, fun guys. And then you realize you're doing actual rocket science with math and physics, and you need to be more careful. So you saw me blow up a whole bunch of times before I figured out about flight pathing. And I want to just say, everyone, thank you so much for those of you who have given me feedback on the YouTube comments quite extensively to show me, what I did wrong, give me advice, help ease me into the game, and encourage me to keep going down this path of doing the training and even what to do in career mode. So that has been super helpful as a player coming in with no experience to the game and being intimidated by its learning curve, and then understanding, that some concepts are intentionally perhaps not described or fully explained by the tutorial as part of the fun of the game. So let's move into intermediate construction. So Werner von Kerman is going to give us some explanation of how to design a craft that can escape the atmosphere and return safely. So let's see what this is all about. Hello again. Glad you could come back. To get started, go ahead and enter the VAB, and I'll give you an overview of what we're building today. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to enter the VAB, and here we are. We're inside, and alright, let me just slide this over. It says, here we are again. Now to business. If you remember, in our last construction tutorial, we covered how to build a simple hopper and some of the basics of the construction area. We did, and it was super easy. There was only a few pieces. In this tutorial, we'll expand your knowledge of some of the more useful features in the VAB, and we'll build a more complex craft that will be able to get us out of the atmosphere. Okay. To build our new design, let's start with the craft we built in the basic construction tutorial. Okay. Though this one is just called Hopper. This will save us a little bit of time, and the accounting department is always happy when we save on time. Oh, indeed. Click on the open button in the top right corner and load the hopper, then removed its RT5 flea motor. Okay, so we're going to go open, and we're going to boop, 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 boop. Wait a minute. You know what? I don't know. Maybe I didn't save it after I did the tutorials, and it's not, giving me credit for it. But I bet I can find a hopper. So let me just go to a hopper here. Or here? No. Okay. Well, touche. So I think what I did was I just played the first two missions, as you saw, but I just exited the game. I didn't realize that you needed to maybe save your progress, or that it didn't auto-save your progress. And so I don't have the hopper saved. Unless there's something I'm just not seeing. Let me see. What about that? Hello, hopper? Alright, what about in here? Jumping flea. Bibbidi bobbidi. I'm just looking at all the options that are available here. So there's all kinds of stuff built in, but there is no hopper, unfortunately. Okay, fine. If you mess up, you can recreate the craft from the parts list by... Okay, so placing the... Let's do it this way. Let's just say we messed up. Let's place the pod. Okay. The pod first. And then a parachute on top. Throughout the tutorial, I will leave all parts you need available to be placed. If you delete the craft file somehow, which is what I did, close the load dialog and open it again, and the craft will be back. Okay. Alright. So, load craft. Do you want to save the current craft before continuing? Save disallowed. Alright. Don't save. Just open it. Okay. Oh, because I had pushed something. Okay. Anyway. No, it looks like... Okay. So what we're going to do is just try to... We put that down. Okay, so we've got this. Alright, good. And then we just need to put a parachute on top. Okay. Got it. Alright. So, good enough, right? Alright, here we go. Okay, so we're going to say next, and it says tweaking the chute. Unlike last time, we won't be bringing the whole vessel back, so we can change our parachute stats from what we used before. Right-click on the parachute and verify that its deployment altitude is set to 1,000 meters as last time. It is, but also set the minimum pressure slider all the way to the right, 0.75 atmospheres. That corresponds to an altitude on Kerbin of about 2 kilometers and means a much shorter time hanging around during descent. Okay. Now we did that. Next, let's change the name of our craft and the description so that we have our trash can special for later on. Simply change the name something other than Hopper and we can proceed. Okay. Alright. Better ship. Adding some functionality. Great. For this craft, we're going to give the ship some additional purpose by attaching a science experiment. We can run these experiments during our travels and get valuable science data for Kerbal Kind. There are a number of science experiments to be performed, but at the moment we only have the Mystery Goo Containment Unit available. Switch to the Science tab to look at it. Okay. This is one of the most basic scientific experiments Kerbal scientists have devised, and is one of the first things they want to try and understand better. I mean, they don't even know what color their goo is. Alright. So we're going to go to the Science tab, I guess. Over here, maybe? Let's look. Here. Here it is. And this is called the Mystery Goo Containment Unit, alright? And it looks like it attaches there, and it was something one of our engineers came upon while researching alternative applications for existing technologies. That's a better way to say that. It's a sealed container which appears to be filled with a strange-looking substance. We couldn't reach in or break the canister open, but watching how the goo behaves when subjected to different situations could be very educational. This is some sweet science. Alright, great. Okay, when you pick up a part, you will see that it's designed... Oh, let me just close this. I don't really need this information anymore. Okay. Alright, well, anyway, I'm going to move that out of the way then. What if I select something else? There, it disappears. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Leave that where it was. Okay. When you pick up the part, you will see that it's designed to attach to the sides of other parts, more specifically radially. If we attach only one of these, then during flight our craft will be unbalanced. One way to solve this is to add an extra goo container on the opposite side of the rocket so they balance. Luckily, we have a Symmetry Tool to help here. These buttons control symmetry, highlighted, and angle snap, and can be found in the lower left of the screen. Okay, I see them. Press the symmetry button or press the X key to cycle through available symmetry modes. So we've got like northwest and southeast, we've got radioactive, we've got all 4 parts, 6 parts, 8 parts, what we had before. Set this to 2 times, and then pick up, okay, so 1, 2, I guess. 2x? Is this 2x? I don't know. And then pick up and place a mystery goo container on the side of the pod near the top. You'll notice that a second one has been placed opposite the first by the Symmetry Tool. Okay, then now let's go back to 2x. This is 2x. Okay, yeah, I see now. So, if I rotate around, for example, you can see how, basically, it's going to just put another one down. So let's put it, I'm going to put it on this stripe because that's cool. Remember to place canisters near the nose of the pod. Maybe I put it in the wrong place. Okay, let's kind of put it closer to the nose then. I don't know. But then, wait. If the parachute deploys and these are up here, is that going to mess with the pods or the chute? I don't know. Let's just see what happens if they're there. Next. If we add too many parts here, the craft we are making will be too heavy to survive re-entry safely and too heavy to be slowed by our parachute. Bad. Leading to sudden impact syndrome. Nice. So we will need to add a decoupler below the pod. Okay, decouplers can be found in the coupling tab and will let us split the craft when we no longer need the lower parts. We won't be able to recover the discarded parts, but at least our craft and our Kerbal will survive re-entry and landing. Decouplers can be used in many ways, but for now, let's just add one of these to the bottom of the pod. Alright, so let's select the TD12 decoupler and put it on the bottom. Bam. Note that stack decouplers have arrows, I see, pointing up. The arrows show which side that decouples. Make sure your decoupler's arrow is pointing up toward the pod. It will be by default. Aha, fantastic. Well done. You'll recall, I hope, that in previous tutorial, we had to adjust the staging stack when we added the engine to our earlier rocket. Okay, yes, I remember that. When you add a decoupler, the extra stage is automatically added. I see that. We have a parachute stage and we have a decoupler stage to the stack so that any new parts below the decoupler won't be staged at the same time as those above it. You can, of course, still move these around, but hopefully this will save you some time as you go. If you ever want to return to the default staging setup, click the reset button at the bottom of the staging stack. Okay. Adding some fuel tanks. This time we're going to use a liquid propellant rocket engine. Unlike solid rocket motors, these engines don't carry their own propellants with them, so we need to add some fuel tanks. Go to the fuel tanks tab, okay? We are still using these early parts, so there are only FLT 100s available. This is another area like engines where advancement brings bigger and better parts. We're going to need 5 of these tanks to get us to space. Before you grab 5 tanks from the part toolbox, though, let me give you another tip, because efficiency is my middle name. It goes right after Vaughn. Once you place the first tank on the rocket, you can duplicate that by holding left Alt and clicking on the tank. You can do this on the bottom tank a few times and quickly get 5 attached without having to go back to the toolbox. That is convenient. Thank you. Add 5 tanks to the vessel. Alright, so we'll put one on the bottom. And then let's try this. Alt. And yep. Okay, so I can just go, hey. And one more. Got it. Good. Now switch over to the Engines tab. The Swivel Engine you see here, I don't see an engine actually, is obviously different from the flea we used before. This is a liquid engine and it burns both liquid fuel and oxidizer. Funnily enough, I don't see the engine. That's where we just added the rocket. Attach the LVT-45 swivel to the bottom and keep an eye on the staging. Okay. I don't know. I must have done something wrong. There isn't what he's talking about. Let's see. Yeah, no. Okay. I mean, I want there to be one. Maybe I have to save and, like, reload or something to get it. I think it's a bug or something. It's not, the engine isn't showing up. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I replayed the tutorial and it still didn't work, and then I had to Google this. So if you're doing this like me for your first time, I guess as they've changed the game, this tutorial no longer works properly, but you won't see the engine, the Swivel Engine, in the Engines panel. You actually have to go to Advanced mode, and then you have to sort by manufacturer, and then it's under Jebediah Kerman's Junkyard and Spacecraft Parts Corporation, or Co. And then in this tab, you'll find the Swivel Engine. So I don't know what to say, but that's how you get there. And now we can put this thing on at the bottom and say next. Okay, and now we need to add fins for balance. I'm going to go back to simple mode. And I think these fins do show up. But if you get stuck, that's where those went. Yeah, they do. Alright, so we need to add some fins to help with rotation, I suppose. We're almost there and you're doing fine. Maybe not as speedily as someone of my caliber, though. Touché. The last thing we're going to need to do is give this rocket a little better stability so it keeps going the way we want it to go. We will achieve this by adding some fins near the bottom of the rocket. Fins can be found in the Aerodynamics tab. Okay. Set the symmetry mode to 4x, so I'm going to push X until I get it to say 4 times there. And turn on angle snap. You can turn on angle snap by clicking the button or pressing C. And now we have a, it's either no snap is a circle or snap is like a hexagon. So hexagon means good, and we want to drop a fin onto the last rocket tank. Okay, so I guess that means on the bottom. Let's kind of go over here, and let me just move this around somewhat. Alright, and we just want to put it down here, and that looks pretty good. So now, if you see, I have like 4 fins that are rotated around the bottom of the last rocket. You'll see other 3 symmetry counterparts will be placed as well. Indeed. Ready to rock. Excellent. We've now got a rocket that will let us reach for the stars. Admittedly, I did say reach for, as this is a basic rocket which can't achieve orbit, but on the bright side, that means re-entry will also be basic. You've done a great job in building a basic hopper and a sub-orbit capable rocket. Hopefully, you've learned a few things about how to build a craft and how to use some of the shortcuts that are in here. Feel free to hang around a bit and try your hand at other things too, or perhaps you could look at the next lesson on suborbital flight, where we will see just how well this rocket performs. Or head over to the science tutorial to learn how to advance your career and unlock more parts. If you could show yourself out of the construction facility with the red button on the top right when you're done experimenting, that would be great. Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, fantastic. Any vessels you create will be lost. This is just for playing around. Right. So, anyway, we'll just call this Subby. And we'll go ahead and just pretend like we can save it. And then we will be like, sweet, we did that. And let's exit. And then we'll go to the next training scenario, which is suborbital flight. And we're going to learn all about it. Hello, glad you could make it back. Today we will take an exciting step, getting our first Kerbal into space. Yep, with a capital S. Hopefully, you remember the controls we discussed in the basic flight tutorial, but don't forget that you can always press escape and click the view key bindings button for a reminder. If you're ready, let's get started. Alright. Flight plan. Your mission today is to make a short suborbital, less than orbital, flight over the water to the east. It's a nice arcing path that ensures a gentle, survivable re-entry. Straight up then straight down is not so good for survival, which I learned the hard way many times over in the previous tutorial about flight. Okay. I've set up a pink target indicator on the nav ball. I see it. As aim point, but do note that this is not the case for normal missions. The target marker is normally used for other things and does not help with ascents. Starting with the nose pointing straight up on the launch pad or 90 degrees elevation from the eastern horizon. Tilt east to 90 degrees on the nav ball by 150 meters a second. Start at 50. Tilt east 70 degrees by 400 meters, and we'll start at 250 meters a second. After burnout, coast up into space and have a look around. Prepare for re-entry. Lastly, re-enter and land safely. Once we reach burnout, more specifically run out of propellant, we'll have a bit more time to discuss some other things. Okay. Unlike the Hopper in our first mission, this new craft has liquid fuel engines, which means we have a throttle, right? Yeah, this means we can use the throttle to set the output power of the ship's engines. Throttle is controlled by the following keys. Left shift throttles up, left control throttles down. Z is max throttle, and X is cutoff. Try these out now. Yep, I'm pushing that. And I'm adjusting things. Holding, cool. Alright, I saw it. SAS stands for Stability Augmentation System, although Kerbal astronauts usually refer to it as Sickness Avoidance Scheme. Whatever it stands for, what it does is try to stop the ship from spinning around using the computer-controlled auto-torque drive compensator technology to counteract the rotation of the ship. In its simplest mode, it will keep the ship aligned with the orientation it has when you turn SAS on. Okay. Or if you pitch yaw roll while SAS is on, the orientation will when you release the controls. It can be deactivated or activated by holding down the F key, and it can be toggled with the T key. If you have problems following the maneuvers, once you enable SAS and lift off, you can click the small red button to the left of the nav ball that has a small red button to the left of the nav ball, okay. That has a miniature target indicator. It's the lower left of all the buttons. This one, maneuver mode. This will cause SAS to follow the indicator and fly for you. Or are we talking about something over here? Anyway, we'll figure it out. Note, this autopiloting function will not be available until you're flying. The craft has a bit too much engine, so we're going to throttle down for launch. Set your throttle to 2/3, the upper of the two middle notches on the slider. Okay, so we'll just kind of hold down shift until we get close to it. That's pretty good. Sort of. Yeah, that's fine. Can I just do it with the mouse? I can't. Okay. Turn SAS by pushing T. Okay, it's on. Oh, these are the buttons it was talking about before. I didn't, like, to the nav ball. I was like, I don't have them because it wasn't turned on. I gotcha. Okay, we seem set. During this lesson, some of the information is quite detailed and can take a while to read. As this is a short suborbital hop, I don't want you to miss anything important. I will place a warning at the top of the pages where you might want to pause the game to read. The warning will look like this. Warning, detailed info, press escape to pause. Okay, great. Yeah, I was going to say, I have to make all these like fine adjustments while I'm flying in terms of throttling and orientation, so I'm a little bit worried about that. Ready to launch. Okay, enough talk. I'll unlock the rest of the controls and you'll be clear to launch. At any time, you may press escape to pause the game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial and return to the main menu. I've enabled the target marker on the nav ball. Give it a look to make sure you see it. Okay. I see it. And then let's get ready to light this candle. Double check your throttle is set to 2/3 and SAS is enabled, and when you're ready to launch, remember to start turning at 50 meters a second. Right. So at 50 meters a second, I need to go east. So, I guess we're ready to launch. And here we go. Wait for a bit more speed before we start to turn. Now is the time to start turning. I paused it, by the way. Follow the target marker 80 degrees by the time you reach 150 meters a second. So you can see the pink target thing is like moving away from me. So I'm going to kind of just try to follow this marker. We're going east. I'm just pushing D on the directional pad, nothing else. As I slowly follow this. Get ready for another turn once you reach 250 meters a second. Okay. And looking good. Now let's turn a little more. We're aiming to get to the 70-degree pitch line. Okay. So you can see these are the pitch markers here, I suppose. And so we need to get over to the right on this a bit more. You can follow the marker as it moves there. I will. So you can see we're kind of tilted. Oh, okay, got to follow it a little bit closer. There we go. Let's not miss this thing. I'm trying to stay inside the yellow. Hold steady. Throttle up. Excellent work. We've got the rocket just where it needs to be in order to reach space. We should be able to let SAS keep the craft steady for a while as we accelerate further. Now go ahead and throttle up to full power. I think I could do that just by pushing Z. Let me try that. Yeah, there we go. We're really cooking along now. As we get up to these higher speeds, you might start to see some heat effects, flames, but we'll clear the atmosphere before it gets too hot. Hold the course and we'll reach stage burnout safely. Okay, yeah, I see the heat effects. I'm holding the course. We've got a good angle here. Here we go. We're into targeting. Jebediah is doing great. Okay, let's pause it. Out of gas. Great work. You've succeeded in getting your ship on a trajectory bound for space. I've now set your target indicator to align with your velocity vector. That will minimize drag by turning the smallest side of your vehicle into the airflow. Okay. So, we have a new target. Somewhere around here, you'll see the navball speed indicators auto switch from surface to orbit. Okay, right down here. As we start coming down, accompanied by a speed number jumping. Go ahead and switch it back to surface mode by clicking on it until it says surface again. Okay. You might have noticed some flickering flames near the end of our burn there, which is due to the high speed of your craft in the atmosphere. Normally, our ascent would be a little slower, but I'm sure my friend Werner has helped you build a ship that can withstand the heat. I hope so. And besides this high and this slow, and you'll be fine. If you want to have a look at your trajectory, you can switch to map mode by pushing M and have a look at your projected path. Just remember to come back to flight mode again. Okay. Now that we're coasting our way to Apoapsis, the highest point, we've got a little time to chat. Once you clear the atmosphere, we'll go over what we can do in space. Okay. So we're going up. We're going up. I'm keeping the targeting reticule on. I'm just kind of doing this. And I'm going to push M. And we go. Oh, cool. We can see that. That's fun. All right. And we're just kind of still going the right way. Okay. Now we need to click this till it says surface again. And we're just going to kind of keep this targeting steady as we are suborbital. Oh, God. That's too far. Let me get back to the trajectory that we need. Match our vector velocity. This is good. Everything's going well. Here I am. That's fun. Okay, I'm going to keep my path correct. Zoom in on myself just so I can see. We could zoom way out if we want. You have to do a little bit of flying here with the throttle or the thrusters. Okay, what to do in space? While we float around here in the atmosphere, I'll quickly tell you about a couple of things you can do. With an advanced enough astronaut complex in the KSC, we can train our Kerbals to be able to spacewalk, or EVA, although we won't be doing that on this flight. Also, when we're carrying space or science devices like our goo containers, we can perform experiments. Feel free to play with the goo canisters now by right-clicking on them. I'll let you know when it's time for the next phase of the flight. Okay, so let's kind of rotate around and right-click on this. Observe mystery goo. Alright. Oh, okay. Mystery goo observation while in space near Kerbin. It seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to become brittle. Okay. Transmit data. Oh no, never mind. It's not that good. Alright. Keep experiment. Alright, what about this one? Okay, well, not very good data, but that's okay. Oh, my trajectory. I gotta aim myself better. I gotta kind of complete the arc. I was paying attention to my science. We're floating, so it's not that big of a deal, but I definitely need to start making sure that we begin to trend downward correctly here. Okay. Reorient. Warning. Detailed info. Press escape. Yep. As we near the edge of the atmosphere, it's time to reorient the pod to get ready for re-entry. We're only going to re-enter the pod with the pod and shoot in goo canisters, but we're not going to decouple yet. In real missions, it's best to keep your upper stage around until the last moment. You never know when you might need it. Anyway, it's best to re-enter bottom first, and since we ascended at about 70 degrees, we'll naturally re-enter at about -70. This means you want to aim the top of the capsule at the 70-degree pitch line, but the opposite heading. This is at a heading of 270 on a nav ball. Whoa. Okay. And 70 degrees pitch. And I've placed a target marker there to help you see where that lies. Turn the SAS off. Okay, I'll push T. Change your altitude, and then turn it back on again. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to kind of try to reorient myself here. Okay, I turned it... Oh, wrong button. I turned it back on. I don't know if I actually changed my altitude. But I changed my direction, I think, didn't I? I might not be doing this right. Oh, yes, okay, there we go. There we go. Whoops, I need to stabilize. I see. Yeah, I gotta go bottom first. That makes sense. Okay, let's get this closer. And now we'll put this back on. Now hold steady and let SAS do its job. Yeah, SAS is amazing. So here we go. We're drifting down bottom first. There we go. So yeah, altitude. Duh. I had to use W and S for altitude. I was mainly just using D for the entire mission. Let me reorient myself properly. Now it's time to get rid of the booster since it's weighing us down. Stage to discard the unneeded parts. Okay, so I think I pushed spacebar. Oh my god. During re-entry with your pod reoriented this way, drag produces near items to the top. Aerodynamic forces alone will hold it properly stabilized, so turn off SAS and let air do the work. Okay, I turned it off. Re-entry. You're now re-entering Kerbin's atmosphere. Make sure to keep all hands and feet inside the pod. Yeah, good idea. We don't want you getting burnt or anything. Don't mind the flames. Werner is a, quote, world-famous rocket scientist after all, and he's built the ship to withstand them. Sure. Last time we watched a parachute icon to wait for the right time to open the chute. This time we're going to do something a little different. Remember in the construction tutorial where we designed the vessel, you set the chute to not semi-deploy until 0.75 atmospheres of pressure? That means the chute won't perform the first of its 2 deployment steps until then, even if you activate it by staging now. On Kerbin, 0.75 ATM means about 2,000 meters altitude above altitude above sea level, and on the craft should be traveling slowly then so that the chute will survive deployment. So let's take a bold step of arming the chute now and let the smarts in there pop in at the right altitude. You know you can trust me. Uh-oh. Stage the chute by pressing space. Sure. I staged it. Awesome. So while we set your chute not to actually semi-deploy until around 2 kilometers, we do look out for you at Mission Control. Thank you so much. We do need to ensure that the opening height, its second full deployment step, is correct. You can even adjust these parameters during flight, so right-click on the parachute now and check the sliders. Okay. Where is my chute? I think I have to have the game... oh, no, I can just right-click it over here. Okay. Don't touch the pressure slider. Oh. Or bad things will happen, and make sure the full deploy altitude is no less than 1,000, or you will not have enough time to slow down. Maybe I want to pull this to 1,000. It's not letting me do this right now anyway. Once you're satisfied, just hang out until about 2 kilometers and watch the parachute trigger itself according to the settings we've chosen. While we're waiting, I want you to look at the bottom of the capsule. Note that you do not have a heat shield. You don't need one because this is such a gentle flight. Actually, a heat shield would make things more dangerous on this craft because the additional mass would be pushing the limits of this model of parachute. Uh-oh. All right, so I'm going to see if I can, like, yeah, I'm going to adjust this, actually, to, like, 1900. Just in case, you know? Actually, let's go like 1,700. It's supposed to do it at 2,000, right? Now, let's go in the middle. Let's split the difference. I don't know, 1,500. Whatever, that's fine. All right, let me look at the bottom. Yep, no heat shield there. Okay, so we're just kind of... we don't have SAS, but the air is just doing this for us. And you can see on our path, we are drifting out into the water. And we are. Ready to shoot. Detailed info. Awesome. Oh, no, never mind. We already did that. Let's look at the bottom. Yet you can see the flames coming in for sure as we go. Are we slowing down enough? God, I hope so. It's supposed to automatically deploy. I've staged it. We should be good. Providing we don't go too fast. What's our altitude? Oh, we're still at like 10,000 meters. So we have to wait till 2,000. We're going down. Let's see if this works. Oh my god, Kerbal. Come on, Kerbal. Come on, Jebediah. We're rooting for you, buddy. Jebby. Alright. Hopefully, I mean, we're going very slow. Like, or pretty slow. The chute is away. Now enjoy a leisurely float down to the surface. Let's hope so. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's floating. Oh my gosh, I think we are going to survive this time. We've got the parachute out. Mm-hmm. I'm going into the cockpit. I want to see what he sees. Okay, that's fun. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I accidentally adjusted some things, jostled my man around. That was a mistake, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's zoom way out. And yeah, we're just landing in the middle of the water. I hope there's someone's going to rescue you, buddy. Okay. We're floating. We're floating. Zoom way in. Uh-huh. Alright. I mean, we're dropping at like only about 3 meters per second. Or 1 meter per second, 3 feet, whatever. Pretty good. Or 5.5 meters per second, but who's counting? We are 100 or so meters above the water. Things are going decently. I feel good. Even if it snaps now, we might survive this. Yep, there it goes. We're gonna land. Bam. Welcome back. And congratulations on completing and even surviving your first real mission. We did it. You've managed to launch, control your vessel into space, orient yourself correctly, and land safely. That's quite an achievement. If you want to practice this again, choose Revert to Launch from the pause menu. Otherwise, end the scenario, and be sure to check out the other tutorials. My next one is about going for orbit, and it's really exciting. There's always a lot more to learn down at the KSC. Indeed. Sweet, we did it. All right, well, that was very exciting. We did 2 training missions, and we built a more advanced ship, and we actually went into orbit, and we didn't die once. How about that? Everyone, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an excellent evening or day. I'm really enjoying learning about this game. I thank you again so much for your tips and advice. They are super helpful. This is a complicated game, and it's always better when you have friends explaining things for you and easing you in without spoiling too much. So I really appreciate that. Take care, everyone.